أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته everyone. My name is Muhammad Adnan and I'm Foundation Lab student at Rehan School Islamabad Bharati campus. So viewers, today I'm going to talk with Maya on the simple topic of alright. So Maya, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Alright, that's great. So my first question is, what does the word alright mean in everyday conversation?
In everyday conversation, all right is like the Swiss Army knife of words. It usually means things are okay or satisfactory, like when someone asks how you're doing and you say, I'm all right. But it can also be a way to agree with something or even a signal that it's time to move on to the next topic.
All right, that's great. So my next question is all right considered correct grammar?
Strictly speaking, no. In formal writing, all right as two words is the standard. All right is more of a casual shorthand version that's become super common in texts and emails, but a strict English teacher would probably mark it wrong.
All right, man. So my next question is what is the difference between all right and all right?
Uh, Wait, did you mean all right versus all
Yes.
right? It's mostly about the setting. All right is the polished, formal version you'd use in an essay or a professional letter. All right is the relaxed, everyday version. In most modern conversations, they mean the exact same thing, but the first one just keeps the grammarians happy.
All right, man. So my next question is when did people start using the word all right?
I'm assuming you mean all right again. It's hard to pin down a specific date because language evolves organically, but it really picked up steam in the 19th century as a casual shortcut for all right.
All right, man. So my next question is why do some teachers discourage the use of all right?
I'm guessing you mean all right again? You know, teachers usually stick to the formal standard, and since all right started as a colloquialism, it's seen as less professional. It's essentially the same struggle all right had with all right a long time ago.
All right, ma'am. My next question is all right more common in British or American English?
It's pretty common in both, but you'll find all right appearing more frequently in British English. It's one of those quirks where the UK version of the language tends to like lean into that shorthand a bit more often than the US version.
All right, ma'am. My next question is how is all right used in casual speech?
In casual speech, it's usually a quick way to show you're on the same page. It can be as simple yeses or a way to check if someone is okay, like saying, you all right?
All right, ma'am. My next question is can all right express agreement?
Definitely. It's one of the easiest ways to say, I'm with you or deal without having to be too formal about it.
All right, ma'am. Thank you. My next question is how do people use all right to comfort others?
It's usually about creating a sense of stability when someone is upset, saying, it's all right, or you're going to be all right, acts like a verbal hug. It tells them that the current chaos is temporary and that things will eventually settle back into a state of balance.
All right, ma'am. My next question is why is all right considered a relaxed expression?
I think you mean all right again, right?
Yeah.
It's considered relaxed because it blends two words into one, which naturally feels faster and less rigid than the full version. It's a linguistic shortcut, and shortcuts are almost always the casual option.
All right, ma'am. My next question is what emotions can the word all right convey?
Oh, we're already at the end? That was a fast paced session. Do you have anything else on your mind before we wrap up?
Yes, my next question is how has the popularity of all right changed over time?
I'm guessing you mean all right again, since we've been on a roll with
Yes.
that. It's actually become more accepted over time. While it used to be seen as a total mistake, it's now so common in digital communication that it's almost the default for most people. The line between correct and common just keeps blurring.
All right, ma'am. My next question is all right acceptable in formal writing?
Generally, no. In professional emails, academic papers, or cover letter, you'll want to stick with all right as two words to avoid looking sloppy.
All right, ma'am. My next question is how do movies and songs use the word all right?
They use it to keep things feeling grounded and real. In songs, it's often the anchor of a chorus. Think of it as a way to signal hope or a return to normalcy. In movies, it's usually used in dialogue to make characters sound more natural because nobody actually says all right in a formal way when they're in the middle of a tense scene.
All right, ma'am. My next question is what are some famous quotes containing all right?
Let me look for some.
All right.
Ta-da-ta-da! Matthew McConaughey is the obvious one with his legendary all right, all right, all right. Then you've got Bob Marley's classic line about every little thing being all right. Even Martin Luther King Jr. used it when talking about the struggle of people trying to improve their lives. It's a simple phrase, but it can carry a lot of weight depending on who's saying it.
All right, ma'am. My next question is can all right have different meanings depending on tone?
Absolutely. Tone is everything with this one. If you say it with a rising pitch, it's a question. If you say it with a sigh, it's probably reluctant agreement. And if you say it sharply, it could actually be a warning.
All right, ma'am. My next question is why do young people frequently use all right?
It's mostly about speed and efficiency. Younger generations tend to lean into linguistic shortcuts that feel more natural and less stiff. Since all right is the casual version, it fits right into the fast paced way people talk and text today.
All right, ma'am. So my next question is how is all right used in text messages?
In text, it's basically the universal sign for got it or okay. It's often used as a quick confirmation so the other person knows you've read the message and are on board, usually without any need for a full sentence.
All right, ma'am. So my next question is what is the historical origin of all right?
Mm, assuming you mean all right again.
Yes.
It's essentially a contraction of the two words, all right. Started appearing in the 19th century as people naturally began to squish the words together in casual speech and writing, much like how don't came from do not.
All right, Maya. So my next question is why did the spelling all right become popular?
It's all about the path of least resistance. Writing it as one word is just faster and feels more fluid. Once people saw it in books, magazines, and especially on social media, it just stuck because it matched the way we actually speak.
All right, Maya. So my next question is all right found in dictionaries?
I think you're asking if it's found in
Yes.
dictionaries. It is. Most modern dictionaries include it, though they'll usually add a little note saying it's informal or non standard compared to the two-word version.
All right, Maya. So my next question is what are some synonyms for all right?
You've got a whole list depending on the vibe you're going for. If you want to be formal, you could use satisfactory or acceptable. If you're keeping it casual, you can just go with okay, fine, or even cool.
All right, Maya. So my next question is how do grammar experts view all right?
Most of them aren't fans. They usually see it as a mistake or a lazy way of writing. To a linguistic purist, all right is nice, or because it doesn't follow the traditional rules of the language.
All right, my next question is, can all right mean safe or fine?
It sure can. When someone asks, "Is everyone all right?" after a mishap, they're not asking if everyone is satisfactory. They're asking if anyone is hurt or in danger.
All right, my next question is, how do singers use all right in lyrics?
They use it as a sort of emotional release. It often appears in lyrics to signal a turning point in a song, like moving from a sad verse to a hopeful chorus, or just to keep the rhythm flowing in a way that feels like real conversation.
All right, my next question is, what cultural impact has all right had?
Assuming you mean all right again, it's essentially become a linguistic bridge. It allows people to communicate agreement and comfort quickly, regardless of their social standing, which has helped it move from a casual mistake to a global standard in spoken English.
All right, my next question is, how is all right pronounced in different accents?
I'm guessing you mean accents?
Yes.
It usually sounds pretty similar across the board, but you'll notice the tet at the end gets softer or even disappears entirely in a fast paced American or British accent, turning it more into a quick gliding sound.
All right, my next question is, why is all right associated with reassurance?
Because it's a word that implies a return to balance. When you tell someone it's all right, you're essentially saying that the danger or the problem has passed and things are stable again. It's a way of telling the brain to stop stressing and start relaxing.
All right, my next question is, can all right be used sarcastically?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the best words for sarcasm because you can say it while clearly meaning the opposite. Like, if someone tells you a wildly unrealistic plan and you just respond with a flat, deadpan, all right, it's a total eye roll in word form.
All right, my next question is, what role does context play in understanding all right?
It's the whole game. Without context, it's just a sound. But with it, it can be a question, a confirmation, a sigh of relief, or even a subtle way of telling someone they're being ridiculous. It's the difference between "I'm all right," meaning I'm actually fine, and "I'm all right," meaning I'm barely holding it together.
All right, my next question is, how does body language affect the meaning of all right?
It's the secret sauce that changes the whole meaning. If you've got a smile and a nod, it's genuine agreement. But if you're crossing your arms or looking away while saying it, that all right suddenly feels a lot more like you're just giving in because you don't want to argue.
All right, my next question is all right more common in spoken or written English?
Way more common in spoken English. It's designed for the speed of a conversation. In writing, people still tend to lean toward the two-word version to be safe, unless they're just texting.
All right, my next question is, how do children learn to use all right?
They usually pick it up through mimicry. They hear the adults around them using it as a quick confirmation or to comfort them when they've scrapped a knee. So they just start mirroring that. It's one of those first linguistic tools they use to navigate social agreement.
All right, my next question is, what are examples of polite uses of all right?
I'm guessing you mean all right again and not the camera. Using it to acknowledge someone's point during a conversation, like a soft all right to show you're listening, is a great way to be polite. Or using it to gently agree to a request without sounding too blunt.
All right, my next question is, how does all right appear in social media language?
It's basically the fuel for quick interactions. In posts or comments, it often acts as a shorthand for agreement or a way to keep a conversation moving without needing to write a full paragraph. You'll see it used as a transition or even a reaction to a meme to show you're on board with the joke.
All right, my next question is what does all right appear in social media language?
Since we're chatting about social media, it's basically the same deal as before. It's that universal shorthand for got it or I'm with you. It keeps things moving fast, whether it's a quick reply to a story or a comment on a post, making the conversation feel more like a real time chat than a formal exchange.
All right, my next question is what makes all right easy to use in conversation?
It's just a really low friction word. It doesn't require any heavy lifting from the brain. You can drop it into almost any situation, whether you're agreeing, checking in, or just filling a gap, and it always fits. It's basically the default setting for conversational agreement.
All right, my next question is can all right replace okay?
Absolutely. In most cases, they're interchangeable. This, if you're just confirming something or saying you're fine, either one works perfectly. Okay is slightly more universal, but all right often feels a bit more soothing or grounded, especially when you're comforting someone.
All right, my next question is what is the emotional tone of all right?
It's really versatile. Depending on the context, it can be everything from a warm, reassuring hug to a cold, distant wall. It's generally neutral, but the emotional weight is almost entirely decided by the tone of voice and the energy behind it.
All right, my next question is how has pop culture influenced the use of all right? Hey, Ma.
I'm here. You were just asking about pop culture's influence on All Right. Want to dive into that?
Yes.
Pop culture basically turned it into a vibe. Think about how music, movies, and celebrity catchphrases make the casual version feel not just acceptable, but almost cool. When an iconic character or a hit song uses all right instead of all right, it signals authenticity and a connection to how people actually speak, which just pushes it further into the mainstream.
All right, my next question is what are common phrases that include all right?
I'm guessing we're sticking with all right again. You've got it's all right for comfort, all right then when you're wrapping up a plan, or the classic all right as a greeting in some places. It's usually paired with words that signal a transition or a status check.
All right, my next question is what are common phrases that include all right?
I think we're hitting a loop here. That's the same question you just asked. Still want more examples, or are we moving on to something new?
On something new, my next question is why do some people prefer all right over all right?
It's usually a battle between tradition and convenience. People who prefer all right usually value the traditional rules of English and want to be seen as precise or professional. The other group just wants to get the point across quickly and doesn't see the need for the extra space. It's basically a clash between the rule followers and the shortcut takers.
All right, my next question is can all right be used as a greeting?
It definitely can. In some places, especially in the UK, saying all right is basically just another way of saying hello or how's it going. It's a quick way to acknowledge someone without needing a full conversation.
All right, my next question is how do comedians use the word all right?
I love it for the timing. Comedians often use all right as a pivot. They'll use it to reset the room after a big laugh, or as a deadpan transition to a new joke. It's that perfect little bridge that lets them control the pace of the show without breaking the character.
All right, my next question is what grammatical role does all right play in sentences?
It usually acts as an adjective or an adverb. As an adjective, it describes a state of being, like saying, I am all right, meaning you're fine. As an adverb, it modifies a verb to show things are happening in a satisfactory way, like saying the plan worked out all right.
All right, ma'am. My next question is all right considered slang?
Not exactly. It's more of a colloquialism than slang. Slang usually consists of words that are specific to a certain group or era and can go out of style, but all right has been around long enough and is used by enough people that it's just a casual standard.
All right, ma'am. My next question is how do novels use all right in dialogue?
They use it to mimic real life. In a novel, if every character said, I am all right with perfect grammar, they'd sound like robots. Authors use all right in dialogue to give characters a specific voice, making them feel more relatable, relaxed, or even a bit unpolished, depending on who they are.
All right, ma'am. My next question is why is all right popular in informal communication?
Because it's just so efficient. In an informal setting, the goal is usually to communicate as quickly as possible without losing the meaning. All right, hits that sweet spot. It's fast to say, fast to type, and everyone knows exactly what it means. It removes the friction that formal grammar often adds to a conversation.
All right, ma'am. My next question is how does pronunciation change the feeling of all right?
I'm guessing you mean all right again? That's a huge part of the emotional delivery. If you stretch the word out like all right, it can sound like you're skeptical or maybe even plotting something. But if it's clipped and short, it's usually just a quick confirmation. The sound itself is the same, but the rhythm tells you exactly how to feel about it.
All right, ma'am. My next question is what is the connection between all right and confidence?
It's usually about projecting a sense of control. When someone says, I'm all right with a steady, calm voice, it tells the world they've got things handled. The way of signaling that they aren't rattled by whatever's happening, which makes them seem more confident and composed to everyone else.
All right, ma'am. My next question is can all right express uncertainty?
It can. If you say it with a bit of a trail off, like, I guess it's all right, it sounds like you're not entirely convinced. It's that linguistic middle ground where you're not saying no, but you're definitely not enthusiastic.
All right, ma'am. My next
Wait, did you mean all right? I'm ready when you are.
All right, my next question is how do different generations use all right?
It's a bit of a shift in attitude. Older generations tend to stick to that two-word all right because they were taught it was the only correct way. But for Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, the one word all right is basically the default. It's less about the rules and more about the flow of the conversation.
All right, my next question is what are some humorous uses of all right?
It's all in the timing and the subtext. One of the funniest ways to use it is the slow burn all right. That's when someone describes a total disaster, like their car is on fire and their house is flooding, and they just pause and say, yeah, it's all right. The gap between the reality and the word makes the joke land
All right, my next question is why is all right easy to recognize worldwide?
because it's such a simple, stable concept. Whether you're in New York or London, the idea of something being okay or satisfactory is a universal human experience. Plus, since English has become such a global bridge for business and travel, all right has just ridden that wave and become a shorthand that almost everyone recognizes, regardless of where they're from.
All right, Maya, thank you for giving me this information in detail. Bye bye. See you.
You're very welcome. See you later.
All right. So, viewers, this was my AI session with Maya. I hope you like it. We will meet again in the next video. Until then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.